We're rolling the dice. We're cutting Galvanic Relay for Gamble. Alex McKinley and I have both gone undefeated with this already. Let's go check it out. This video is proudly sponsored by Card Market. I hope you're ready for a long-winded deck tech, because that's what I'm going to provide today. We are cutting Galvanic Relay. If you check out my last video that you can find in the card above, I didn't do so well. And that video was a little bit of a wake-up call for me, despite running super hot with that deck list, or a list close to that deck list, 75 match win percentage. So over the last few days, I recorded that video Monday. And then that night, after I edited the video and all that, I decided I was going to be honest with myself. I was going to look at my spreadsheets and really get some numbers. Well, I was looking at those numbers, and the trend for Galvanic Relay was going down. Basically, the format had become way too fast for Galvanic Relay. So I looked at MTG Goldfish, and I looked at the top 20 decks in the format. Galvanic Relay was good against 2.5 of those decks. And you might be thinking Consigned to Memory is the reason why. It really wasn't. If you're a skilled Storm Wizard, you can pick your spots, play your spells, protect your key spells, and then win a lot of the time in the fair matchups. But the problem is it's just not good against the unfair decks, and right now even the fair decks are leaning unfair. Cephalid Breakfast, Doomsday, Reanimator, like your actual fair decks in the format are just Beanstalk Piles and then Delver, and those are both trending down. So Galvanic Relay wasn't making a lot of sense, so I started looking at Ponder and other options, and ultimately I decided I was going to get around to trying out Gamble. That night, I went undefeated. Alex McKinley was like, okay, I've got to try this. Alex McKinley went undefeated. I queued up another league. I went 4-1, just losing the trophy match. So it was good. And then over the last couple days, I've started to push the limits on what we were able to do. I've started trying lists with 4 Urza Saga. I've tried lists with no Urza Saga, and a bunch of different results. But one thing that I found is I absolutely love the gamble. Finding singleton bullets like the Vexing Bauble or Tendrils of Agony after an Echo of Eons is just so important. But it also finds sideboard bullets like a Braid or Abrupt Decay. And versus, Red Prison, when they have Blood Moon Vexing Bauble, you can gamble for your one of a Braid, destroy the Bauble, and then get out of the lock. So that's nice. And then against control decks, you don't have to bring in 2 copies of Abrupt Decay anymore, because you can always just find it with Gamble. I like that a lot. Additionally, we still have the Haywire Might off of Urza Saga, but, just more powerful singletons needing less to board in is always good in your combo deck, because you don't want tons of removal. You just want one at a critical point in time. And that's something that Gamble allows. So you might be looking at the sideboard and you're like, wow, a lot has changed. Wear Down's gone, Peer into the Abyss is gone. So I talked about wanting to break that Blood Moon lock. That is why we're playing a Braid. But also, Wear Down doesn't beat Blood Moon. And Wear Down is there for things like double Vexing Bauble. And while you can wear down 2 Vexing Baubles, it's tougher when they play Blood Moon. So today we're playing Meltdown instead. It does destroy your own artifacts like Lion's Eye Diamond. So when you're in those situations, you don't want to play out your artifacts if you don't have to. Because, well, Meltdown kills them. So pick and choose how you use this card. You don't have to blow yourself out with it if you just play well. So that's the idea there. Feed the Swarm. So I tried playing a league where I got paired into the new Nadu Elves deck. I got paired into Death and Taxes. And it's been the first time in a while where I was like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should have some sort of wishable card to answer creatures, because it came up twice in one league. So Feed the Swarm is here. Not only does it answer creatures, it's your wishable answer to things like Deafening Silence or Ley Lines or whatever. So I am trying to Feed the Swarm today. Basically, with Veil of Summer being so good now against non-blue decks because it beats Vexing Bauble on its own, you have extra sideboard slots since you're not boarding as much in, so you're able to play some of these utility cards now that we haven't been able to in the past. So that is why Feed the Swarm is here. But in general, I've just really, really enjoyed the gamble list. I mean, I've also tried, I think this next one will be no gambles. I tried this last night too. When you're playing no Urza Sagas, you can afford to go back to Beseech. I ended up hating the Collective Brutality, so don't play that. I was trying it over the 4th copy of Thoughtseize, so the idea was you would board in 3, leave this in the sideboard as a wish target, and it not being Thoughtseize cost me twice in one league. So not all of my ideas are good. Sometimes they're bad. This does have the wear down though. It still has a braid, still had the Peer into the Abyss. But one thing I noticed is ever since adding in Gamble, I have not cast Peer into the Abyss once. So I don't think we actually need that card anymore. I was playing it to beat Graveyard Hate, Pyroblast, things like that. But with Gamble, the deck list is so fast. In one of the leagues I played last night, we went 4-1, and out of the 8 game wins, 5 of them were on turn 1. Like, Gamble really speeds up this deck. So that is my thought process behind trying no copies of Urza Saga, is if Gamble speeds us up so much, why are we playing this card that wants to wait till turn 3? So I'm trying Urza Saga and no Urza Saga, but one thing is for sure, at Eternal Weekend, I'm going to be playing Gamble. Like, I've just been so impressed by this card. I can't imagine going back to Ponder at this point, and that's something that I learned playing Saga, is just the ability to always tutor for your Lion's Eye Diamond or Vexing Bauble is just so critical, and this Gamble card does that. So that is why we like Gamble. Obviously, it can just be Entomb or Echo of Aeons as well, but the card provides a lot of utility, and that's just sort of something that I enjoy. Hopefully I covered everything. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever, put those down below. And if I remember something else I want to talk about, it will happen throughout the league, but I kind of just want to play some Legacy Magic the Gathering with you, so we'll hop into the first match. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, cyborg guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicswarm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicswarm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to the first match. We are on the draw versus someone who tends to play a lot of Death Shadow. And before we begin, I would like to give a friendly reminder, since I've been meaning to do this and keep forgetting. I've uploaded some foils, some high-end cards, signed cards, Japanese cards to theepicswarm.com/shop out of my personal collection. They're just spare cards that I don't see myself using ever again. So go check those out at theepicswarm.com/shop. All right, so how do we feel about this hand versus Death Shadow? Vexing Bauble obviously is nice. What we don't like is the Gaia's Will. Veil of Summer and Beseech the Mirror are both great. So it's really this Gaia's Will that's problematic. But we have the Brainstorm. So being on the draw, I'm hoping that I can draw into, you know, a fetch land or a blue source, and then we could shuffle away this Gaia's Will. Maybe that's optimistic. But one thing that I've noticed playing this Gamble list is that Gamble is a shuffle effect for Brainstorm. So even though we've gone down to 6 fetch lands, we added in 4 copies of Gamble. Additionally, Urza Saga also shuffles your deck. So Brainstorm does have more shuffle effects than it might seem like. The opponent has taken a mulligan all the way down to 4. Okay, Bloodstained Mire. Could be Death Shadow. Another Brainstorm. We'll play Badlands, Lotus Petal, and let's play the Vexing Bauble. And our opponent just immediately concedes to Vexing Bauble. Okay. Interesting. So I just checked Goldfish, and their last handful of deck lists that were playing Death Shadow in them were not running Bloodstained Mire. Just something for us to think about here. I think we want to bring in 3 copies of Thoughtseize, and I'm going to do the skim method here, where it's 1 Chrome Mox, 1 Mox Opal, then 1 copy of Gamble. We will try this. I kind of feel like they mulliganed to 4 and played a Bloodstained Mire. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the mirror match. I know that's like, you're like, oh, Brian, what a big ego you have. You must assume everyone plays your deck. But Bloodstained Mire is not a card that sees play in a lot of decks. Then on top of it, they conceded to Vexing Bauble. So that's some information there. So if this is the Storm Mirror, I don't think that this hand is good enough. If it's not the Storm Mirror, and if it is Death Shadow, Urza Saga looks amazing here. It could also just be blue-black Reanimator. Alright, against better judgment, I'm going to keep this. Opponent with a fast mulligan to 5 again. Okay, they've kept 5. Underground Sea. Brainstorm in their main phase. This is a combo play. Blue-black Reanimator doesn't do this. Not anymore, not without grief. And they're passing the turn, it looks like. Okay, 5 cards still in hand. We draw a Lotus Petal. I'll play the Lotus Petal. Let's play Urza's Saga. Play a Mox Opal. Chrome Mox. And they are yielded. So there's a good chance they don't have interaction in hand. I'm going to pass. Bloodstained Mire. Okay. They fetch. Undercity Sewers. So probably Reanimator. Another Bloodstained Mire. Interesting. We draw Burning Wish. So I can try to play Song of Creation here. The problem with it is, if they have a counter spell, I get messed up. So I can fetch and just see if they respond. And it looks like they were yielded again. So let's grab Taiga. I mean, you just shouldn't yield all the time because it does give away info. So let's try Song here. And it just immediately resolves. So I can play the Mortuary and try to find another 0, or I can just bank on Chrome Mox being good. I think I just want to play the Chrome Mox here and not lose my mana. And our opponent just conceded. Let me know what you think, what they were playing in the comments section down below. I'm probably going to put Reanimator, but it could have been it's the Epic Storm Mirror match. Look at that. All right, so my initial inclination was correct. All right, so we are 1-0 to start off this Legacy League. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Name a more iconic duo than me and drawing Gaea's Will. Really, do it. Like, there isn't. So, here we are, Gaea's Will in hand. The question is, do you keep this? Once again, we have Brainstorm plus Fetch Land. We also have Gamble to shuffle the Brainstorm. I think keeping this is actually just fine. Our opponent plays an Underground Sea and Thoughtseize. So, we're likely going to lose our Brainstorm here. So, Gaea's Will, stuck in our hand for now. What you could do is just resolve an Echo and shuffle this bad boy in. But, I was hoping to be able to resolve Brainstorm and, fix that up that way. I had absolutely no idea what the opponent is playing, by the way. So Underground Sea Thoughtseize probably tells me Doomsday. Also, they're like 2007 emo name. They probably like Doomsday because it's edgy and cool or whatever. They take Chrome Mox. Really? Okay. Not sure I agree with that one. And we draw Lion's Eye Diamond. That was fairly good. So we'll play Bloodstained Mire. And now let's play the Lion's Eye Diamond. So now we have a protected turn 2 Gamble for Echo plus Veil of Summer. Interesting. That's assuming we even want to go for the turn 2. They play Brainstorm, Undercity Sewers, and they kept the card on top. Okay, so on their end step, we will fetch. They have 5 in hand. I think I'm going to grab the Undercity Sewers here. I don't want to go for it. I'm going to just, Saga's too slow here. That can go to the graveyard. I think I'd rather play this just a hair bit slower. Dark Ritual is a very good draw. Let's Brainstorm. Another Gamble. So let's get rid of the Gaea's Will. And we'll put Gamble number 2 on top of the deck. Pass the turn. Island, okay. And it is Reanimator. Atraxa goes to the graveyard, and with 2 lands, you have to imagine they'll be able to reanimate. And they do. Animate Dead. So Atraxa will enter the battlefield and trigger. They have 3 cards in hand at the moment. Atraxa now reveals the top 10. They find Force of Will, Wasteland, Brainstorm, Troll of Khazad-dûm, Thoughtseize. So we are pressured into winning now. And a Brazen Borrower. So they hit a lot of different card types off this. They chose Wasteland, Force of Will, Thoughtseize, and Brazen Borrower. I'm going to redraw the Gamble because it just makes our mana work a little bit better here. We'll play Chrome Mox and print Gamble. Let's try a Dark Ritual. Opponent thinking very hard on Dark Ritual here. They let it go. We will fetch. Alright, our fetch land finally resolves. I'll grab Taiga. It was like over a minute of just lag there. And this, I've restarted before I started recording. And so I've logged into Magic Online just before I started recording this. So it's a little odd that Magic Online would be lagging like this. Veil of Summer. We know that they have one copy of Force of Will. They exile a Psychic Frog, so that is a card we did not know. So there's still 2 cards that we don't know that they took from without Atraxa. So they still have Brazen Borrower, Thoughtseize Wasteland, and then 2 unknowns. Our Veil of Summer has been countered. We will now play Gamble. I don't like the pause here, because that means that they likely have another force, but I need to just try to win the game. Could also mean that they're lagging like I was. Who knows? Grab Echo of Aeons. And now we'll attempt to spin the wheel. Storm 6 floating 3 mana. They play Daze. We will pay for it using a black mana. Echo of Aeons. Storm 7, 2 floating. This is capable of winning. My fear is if they have another Force of Will. So we could try to Brainstorm. Let's try playing Lion's Eye Diamond and seeing if they think that's good enough to Force of Will. It was not. Okay. Let's try Dark Ritual. Does that get forced? That resolves. Attempt a Brainstorm. That did not find me anything I wanted. I don't know if I've played a land here, so I think I'm going to keep the Urza Saga. And then we'll put Song of Creation on top. Play Urza Saga. We'll play Chrome Mox. Imprint Burning Wish. And now we'll Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing... Doesn't matter. I guess Chrome Mox, because if I Echo, it's better to have a Chrome Mox in my deck than a land. It resolves, so we just grab Tendrils of Agony. Click, click, boom. Take that, Reanimator. We have stolen game number 1. Sideboarding. I believe you just want more copies of Thoughtseize. And then the skim method I think is fine. One nice thing about boarding out Gamble is that it does become a Burning Wish target. I've had a few games so far where I'm like, oh, I could really use a Lion's Eye Diamond, Burning Wish for Gamble. That's been, good to have. And without Galvanic Relay, 4 copies of each Mox is less important. You do have Song of Creation and Echo of Aeons in your deck, but against a blue deck, you want to slow down just a hair, and boarding out a couple copies of Mox in for interaction goes a long way. Game 2 on the draw, and our hand says, I heard you like to party. I mean, I kind of want to keep this, but it's obviously really risky. Our opponent has kept 7. I'm going to keep. We boarded in Thoughtseize. We have the Vexing Bauble, Veil of Summer. We have 8 protection spells we could draw to here. Gamble finds Echo of Aeon, so you're able to play through a counter spell as well. This just makes a lot of sense to me. Turn 1, Bloodstained Mire. Picks up an Underground Sea. Turn 1, Thoughtseize again. Brutal. Most lists only play 2. So they probably take the Burning Wish here. They take Diamond. Interesting. Okay. We draw Echo. So that was quite the punish. I think we'll just pass here. If they had just let on a Ponder, we would have had quite the turn 1. Where we could have threatened like an Empty the Warrens or something plus Flashback Echo. They cycle a Troll of Khazad-dûm. If they play Reanimate, they go to 11, and this Tendrils of Agony starts to look pretty good. They pick up an Undercity Sewers. And there's the Reanimate, so they're going to go to 11. Interesting. And it appears that I'm lagging again. Like, I've already clicked OK, but you can see my clock just going down. Oh, Magic Online. We'll take a draw. They have 4 cards in hand, and one of which is an Undercity Sewers. Veil of Summer. So I believe that this is a protected win now. Lotus Petal. I mean, I get blown out by a Daze, but that is life. We'll play another Lotus Petal. Mox Opal. Dark Ritual. Veil of Summer. I mean, they knew what my hand was. The lag is real. Just allow me to cast my spells. Let's go. This is me making a green mana and Lotus Petal not going to the graveyard. Maybe I'll try to restart Magic Online after this match. Oh, we've made a green mana. Veil of Summer. And we'll play Tendrils of Agony. Easy does it. Okay, we are now 2-0. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. For round 3, and we've lost the die roll, which I don't like because I faced this person 6 times in my life and they've always been on oops all spells, so losing the die roll here when I have a Vexing Bauble in hand is the ultimate feel bad. So I'm guessing that I'm just dead. They kept 7. Let's find out. Also, well, it's not oops all spells. Look at this. It didn't load the card frame. So maybe after this match, I will restart Magic Online again. They're on Painter. Okay. That is a Grindstone. They have 3 cards remaining in hand. Okay, so we have a deterministic Peer into the Abyss win here. We'll play Urza Saga. I'm sorry, Peer into the Abyss. Beseech the Mirror. Sorry, I was thinking about how I cut Peer into the Abyss and how it could have been decent here, and then I ended up saying the wrong card name. Also, if you look at our sideboard, it looks a little wild over here because the Tendrils of Agony is overlaid on top of Feed the Swarm. Mox Opal, tap this, tap. We will hold control and play Burning Wish. And the lag is back. I think Magic Online is just really buggy right now, and it's not actually me. So I'm just going to hold control until Magic Online quits bugging out because I don't want it to accidentally pass priority. There we go. Alright, and now we'll add some black mana. Oh! I thought the card frame was there. If you look, it looks like the card frame, but it's just the background of Magic Online. And now we'll grab the sideboard copy of Beseech the Mirror. And now we'll sacrifice the Mox Opal. Alright, so while we wait for Mox Opal to be sacrificed here, our opponent says that Magic Online is also very buggy for them, so it's not just me. That is good to know. We'll grab Gaea's Will. I could sacrifice the Urza Saga here, but I just don't need to. Lion's Eye Diamond, Lion's Eye Diamond, Mox Opal. We'll play the Vexing Bauble because I can. And now we'll add a bunch of mana and play Tendrils of Agony. Target you. This is so weird. Look at this Tendrils of Agony. Alright, so now we're going to the post-board games. Painter, we likely want the Abrupt Decay, Haywire Might, a Braid, and then some number of Thoughtseize. They are a Mindbreak Trap deck. I like leaving 1 in the sideboard. It looks like my Dark Ritual is also all weird. I don't love Vexing Bauble, so you can board that out. Something I've been talking about with Alex is that maybe in these matchups you board... So you could try Shaving Chrome Mox, but maybe you just board out Urza Saga versus the Blood Moon Magus in the Moon deck. And I understand that you're bringing in Haywire Might, but this is still a card you could search for off of Gamble. Like, it is not bad. So maybe that's the move. And then you can shave, like, 2 Veil of Summers. Oh, I accidentally cited in 3 Thoughtseize. There we go. So let's try this. Game number 2. Our opponent has kept 7. Song of Creation versus the Pyroblast deck here is a little ambitious, but we can play it on turn 2. I think I'm actually going to keep this, even though it's a little bit sketchy. Also, Gaea's Will in my hand. It's just a given. Like, if it's a singleton card that I don't want to draw, always in my hand. Our opponent plays Ancient Tomb, Grindstone with 1 open mana, and they pass the turn, 5 cards in hand. Chrome Mox. I could play turn 1 Song of Creation, but I wouldn't have anything to trigger the song. So I'll play the Underground Mortuary, Surveil, get rid of the Undercity Sewers. We don't want that. And now we'll play Chrome Mox. I think the goal here is that I'm going to try to beat Mindbreak Trap by playing out a couple artifacts early. So next turn I can play Land, Song of Creation, Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual. Come on, Urza Saga pass. That's what I want to see. Basic Mountain. Am I supposed to play my Song of Creation into Pyroblast here? Echo of Aeons. Well, I guess Silver Lining is that it's not the only payoff, so I should probably just do it. And I can hard cast Echo next turn. green, blue, our colorless mana, and then Song of Creation. If they don't have the Pyroblast, we just get to go crazy. And they do have Pyroblast here. Alright, pass. Another mountain. Karn the Great Creator. Was not expecting that. I think we probably just lose to the Karn. So even if I had passed and not gone for it, I would have lost to the Karn this turn. Maybe I should just concede and go to game 3. Yeah, let's not waste any time. Okay. Let's try that again. Game 3, we're on the play. This hand is not very good. We should mulligan this. Oh boy. So this hand is very all in, but if your Echo resolves, you're definitely here to party. Bottom Abrupt Decay. Opponent with a mulligan to 5. Okay, our opponent's on 5 cards here. Lotus Petal. Lion's Eye Diamond. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Add 3 blue. Flashback Echo of Aeon, Storm 6. It resolves! Alright, so now we can play Brainstorm, Storm 7. We have a win right now, but I would like to be able to protect it. Let's put back the Chrome Mox and Dark Ritual. So I think the safest thing for me to do here is you might be thinking gamble for a payoff. I don't think that's actually it. I think you're supposed to just put Tendrils of Agony on the stack and then echo if it fails. Like if they mind break me, we'll just echo. Because you could gamble for Thoughtseize and then accidentally discard your Burning Wish, and I don't want that to happen. So we'll grab Tendrils of Agony. Let's play it. Storm is 13 and the opponent concedes. We got the match. We are now 3-0, and I'm going to attempt to restart Magic Online again. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Alright, time for match number 4. We're on the play for the first time this league, and we're facing Delthar, a very strong pilot who's been playing Doomsday recently. So this hand here that's very all-in makes me a little bit nervous, just because, well, you know, Force of Will. We're going to keep it, though, because you get to do something pretty interesting here, where you can gamble for a second copy of Echo of Aeons, so even if they Force of Will the first, you can have 2. So we'll do that. Verdant Catacombs. Let's play Lion's Eye Diamond. And now we will fetch, grab Underground Sea. Let's try a Dark Ritual. That resolves. We'll play Chrome Mox and print Gamble. Actually, is it better here to go get Vexing Bauble than it is to... Because if... I guess it's not better if I discard the Vexing Bauble. Because if I discard Vexing Bauble in the 50-50, my Echo is unprotected. So I guess we should just grab Echo here. Alright, so I'm glad I talked through it, and now we will flash back an Echo of Aeons. Storm is 5. And it resolves. Okay, so we'll play out Lotus Petal. Storm is 6. Mox Opal, Storm is 7. I'm 1 mana short of lethal. So let's play Brainstorm. And there's the mana. Alright, we'll put back 2 lands. Lion's Eye Diamond. Dark Ritual. Let's try a Burning Wish. This resolves, so we'll just grab Tendrils of Agony, and our opponent is dead. Boom! Another turn 1. Okay, and it looks like the lag is... I mean, I didn't notice it that game, so that's good. Let's switch this over to card view. I haven't even noticed, and I prefer this, actually. But it's just I've been so... concerned with the moto lag that I haven't even noticed that you haven't been able to see the full deck like this. So we'll bring in 3 copies of Thoughtseize. Something that Alex and I have talked about is cutting Urza Saga versus opposing combo decks. I actually like it against Doomsday because you can make constructs and then play Bauble to buy time for the constructs to deal lethal. Plus, like, they're a deck that boards in a bunch of force negations, and just being able to slowly put the Bauble in play is very good. So we will do the skim method again, where you just cut a couple of cards. So 1 Chrome Mox, 1 Mox Opal, and then 1 copy of Gamble. Hit submit. Game 2, we're on the draw. I am actually going to keep this. We can just draw, discard Echo of Aeons, and then next turn protected Echo of Aeons, assuming we draw into a land. Well, that's out of the picture. So Grafdigger's Cage will stop Echo. We did not bring anything in to answer it. I do have Meltdown, but we have a hand that's all artifacts, so that's not going to work. So we're just going to pivot instead. Speaking of pivots, look at this, Urza Saga. Let's play the Saga first, so that way I'm not getting my Chrome Mox dazed here. We'll play Chrome Mox, imprint the Echo, play Mox Opal. Probably should have played the Lotus Petal first, that's on me. Because if for some reason they force to will the Lotus Petal, I look foolish. And now we'll Brainstorm. Another Burning Wish and another Chrome Mox. Okay. We'll hide one Veil on the bottom and another Burning Wish here. Let's see if they allow Burning Wish to resolve. It does. So we'll say yes, and now we'll grab Thoughtseize, pass the turn. Misty Rainforest, Great Tropical Island, Abrupt Decay on Chrome Mox. Okay. So I don't think that this is Doomsday. Saga goes to the second chapter. I'll play another Chrome Mox here. I think we're supposed to imprint the Veil when I have another Veil on top of the deck. I'm going to make the construct now, which might be a little foolish, but I don't know what our opponent's playing, and if it has Stifle, I want to be able to make a creature here. So up until this point, Urza Saga, this league has not been relevant, and well, it's very good right now. Misty Rainforest, Underground Sea, Psychic Frog, sure. So we'll draw the Veil of Summer. We'll make another construct. And I think I could go grab a Vexing Bauble that would prevent our opponent from winning. But I'm not sure if that's the right move, because if I grab a diamond, I could set up a Tendrils of Agony that kills them with the construct tokens. So I feel like that might be better, but I need them to not play Doomsday. But if they are Doomsday, I mean, it's yet to be seen. So Abrupt Decay isn't really a Doomsday card. Grafdigger's Cage is. None of their recent Doomsday lists have played green. I think it's going to be Lion's Eye Diamond, and if I lose, I lose. Let's attack for 6. So I'm also representing lethal now. So next turn, I have 12 damage on board. So they might not be able to attack with their Psychic Frog anyway, unless they have the win. So Urza Saga looking very good this game. Land number 4, so that's enough to play Doomsday. Give your Psychic Frog flying. Okay, well that's not a land that plays Doomsday. But they could have given their Psychic Frog flying, attack, draw, brainstorm, win. But that would assume that our opponent is on Doomsday, and I don't even know if they are. They give their frog flying. They swing. So they'll draw a card here, 4 cards in hand now. They play a Ponder. They shuffled with Ponder. And another frog. Okay. Let's start with attacking. Swing, swing. They have to block 1. So they'll take 6. And now we can play Thoughtseize. They knew about it because I got it on turn 1. So I've been sitting with it in my hand the previous 3 turns. They daze. I will pay. They discard Force of Will. They discard Veil of Summer. And now they show us the Lone Undercity Sewers. I am liking my chances right now. I mean, this could still be Doomsday. Alright, and our opponent concedes. They were nice enough to tell me in chat that they were in fact Bug Doomsday. So we're 4-0. Urza Saga carried us here. And now we're off to play the trophy match. I'll see you there. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? Alright, the 5th and final round, and I've remembered this time to update my record. I didn't last round. We were 3-0 then. We are now 4-0, playing for the trophy match number 5. We're facing Jamie or Jaime, what if they're Spanish? I don't know. But they've been on the deck, according to MTG Goldfish, that beat me in round 1 of my previous video, where I mentioned wanting Abrupt Decay for things like Lavinia and Deafening Silence. So this could be a match where the differences in the deck list end up panning out. Let's find out in the 5th and final round. So we're on the draw. I wish that this Burning Wish was another piece of mana, but other than that, this hand is, pretty darn good. And I don't want to mulligan a hand that plays well just because I have 2 copies of Burning Wish when a mulligan would put me down another card anyway. And now we find Gamble. I'm going to just play the Verdant Catacombs and pass. I could try to play a turn 1 Vexing Bauble, but I want to Surveil so that way I can try to find another piece of mana here. They grab a Plateau. And they cycle Troll of Khazad-dûm, so this is not the deck that won the showcase. So this is something else. Scrubland. I just don't know what to believe here. Are they playing blue at all? Like, that's a question I have. We'll grab an Underground Mortuary. Finds another Gamble. We can't use another Gamble, so we're going to put it to the graveyard. Lotus Petal. So let's play Lotus Petal. We'll play another Lotus Petal. So I could go Dark Ritual, gamble for Lion's Eye Diamond, spin the wheel on Echo, but I would lose Veil of Summer. And I think this means that they have a Orcish Bowmasters. So I think instead I'm going to just play the Vexing Bauble. We will pass the turn. And it is in fact Orcish Bowmasters on the end step. So I'm going to want to Veil of Summer before I try to win. So this could just be Mardu Taxes, Karakas, so it's looking more and more like Mardu Taxes. Maybe I should have just gone off last turn. I don't know. Now they swing, we'll take 2 down to 16. 3 mana for a Recruiter of the Guard. Okay, so I don't have to worry about another Orcish Bowmasters. Something we could think about here is just accepting that I'll take 7 damage off of an Echo of Aeons. Where it gets a little more risky is if I have to echo multiple times. And they find Opposition Agent. Don't love that. Urza Saga. We'll play the Saga as our land for the turn. Let's Dark Ritual. Let's draw off the Bauble. We draw into Mox Opal. That's a good one. We'll play the Opal. And now we will gamble for Lion's Eye Diamond. Let's see it. Okay, and I believe that we now just have a deterministic sideboard Beseech the Gaea's Will line that wins the game. So I'll sacrifice this for black. Yes. We'll grab Beseech the Mirror. We'll bargain away the Urza Saga. Grab Beseech the Mirror. Bargain the Mox Opal. And now we will select Gaea's Will. Cast it holding priority. And we'll make a red. The 8th spell of the turn. And now we'll just play spells from our graveyard. So you might be thinking, why couldn't you just find another Beseech and 2 Tendrils? I don't want to lose to something silly like Solitude. In game 1, they're so unlikely to have something like a main deck copy of Fairy Macabre that why would I ever put myself at risk to losing that to that? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So now we will bargain the Opal and Tendrils of Agony for 30. All right, so we got game number 1. We're 1 game away from a trophy. We'll bring in the Haywire Might. We want Abrupt Decay. We want the Abrade. What we don't need is this Vexing Bauble. That can get out of the deck. And now we're at 62. So you can probably shave a couple copies of Veil of Summer. It is good for beating Orcish Bowmasters. So I appreciate that. They probably have Thoughtseize in their deck somewhere. If it's main deck or sideboard, I don't know. But Veil of Summer can be good there. The question is, do you want Thoughtseize for Mind Break Trap? And I think it comes at the cost of Mox Opal and Chrome Mox. So I'm not sure that I do. I'm going to submit this. Now I'm having second thoughts. Maybe 2 copies of Thoughtseize over the Mox and it's just correct. Not having to fear Mind Break the whole time. Let's try this. Or I could leave 1 Veil of Summer, but because I could still gamble for it to beat a Bowmasters or what is it called? Vexing Bauble. But also try boarding out a gamble. Yeah, I'm not sure. I have not figured out the board mapping 100% yet. I've just been testing so many different lists recently where I'm changing the sideboard so much that not everything is perfectly mapped. I mean, this is a strong hand. Our opponent's taking a mulligan. They play turn 1 Karakas into Deafening Silence. We do have Feed the Swarm on our sideboard. We'll play the Underground Mortuary. Get rid of Lotus Petal. We don't need that. Land number 2. And it's a pass. I could just go get the Feed the Swarm now, but instead I'm going to play Undercity Sewers. I don't hate Urza Saga. Let's play out the Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay, so this actually makes the Urza Saga terrible. But I guess Urza Saga can grab a Haywire Might, so not the end of the world. And they're going to get rid of the Deafening Silence here, only to flash it back into play. Okay, whatever makes you happy. We will play Urza Saga. Lands for days. Pass. They search out a Plateau. Orcish Bowmasters. I'm going to Veil of Summer. I think we just need to draw into cards that allow me to do something, hopefully a non-land at some point. Because right now, like, we just don't have a solid game plan. Like, I could Burning Wish for the Feed the Swarm. I'm just not sure if it's a great idea. Shadowy Backstreet. And now they attack. Oh, they did the Deafening Silence thing because it pumps up their dog. That makes sense. I missed that. I've never actually read that line of text before. Alright, so I go to 13 now. Another land. You're killing me. I will just pass the turn. Recruiter of the Guard. So my time is running out here. That said, Urza Saga can find Haywire Might, kill the Deafening Silence, and they tap the Plateau, so I'm not worried about Pyroblast this turn. They find a Lauren of the Third Path. They almost attacked with the Orcish Bowmasters and then undid their decision. And they're going to blink the Recruiter here. Before blockers, we will make a Construct. And let's block the 4/4. Just saves a little bit of damage. And now Recruiter of the Guard can come back. And I would expect that when this happens, they grab a Fairy Macabre with the Recruiter that will stop a Beseech the Mirror win from happening. And they do, in fact, grab a Fairy Macabre. End step, we will fetch. Let's grab Taiga. Okay, so here's our shot. Gamble. Okay, so let's tap the Urza Saga for mana. We'll grab Haywire Might. And then we will exile the Deafening Silence. So the question here is, am I brave enough to gamble for Thoughtseize first to make this a win? Because if I gamble for Thoughtseize first and then discard one of these extra lands I don't need, we have a clear Beseech the Mirror win. But I guess I would need to play Dark Ritual first. I will play Gamble. So ideally I would discard Bloodstained Mire or Verdant Catacombs or the Urza Saga. Alright, moment of truth. We discarded a land. Good. And now I can play Thoughtseize as the third spell for the turn. So the risk with playing Dark Ritual first was that it exiles now to Fairy Macabre. But I don't think the mana would have been weird. They exile Dark Ritual Lotus Petal. Okay. So maybe that actually takes Beseech off. I'm not sure. Storm is 3. Opponent thinking long and hard here. So while they're thinking, Verdant Catacombs fetches Badlands. I could play the Chrome Mox for turn with no imprint. And then I would spend the Badlands and the colorless mana to play Burning Wish, sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond for 3 black, go get Beseech the Mirror, Beseech the Mirror for Gaea's Will. I'd have 1 black floating, replay Chrome Mox, no imprint, play Lion's Eye Diamond, make 3 black, so that puts me up to 4 black, Beseech the Mirror, Tendrils of Agony. So this still wins through the Fairy Macabre here. And they're going to Solitude in response. And they're going to gain 5 life. I don't think that matters, but it could. And now we hit the Lauren. Okay, so let's just talk through that line again. So no matter what, I'm playing the Verdant. Let's just get this out of the way. Make sure that the Badlands is actually in my deck, because I've been playing so many different lists that it's tough to keep track of. So Chrome Mox will be Storm 5. And then Burning Wish will be 6. Beseech the Mirror will be 7. Gaea's Will be 8. Chrome Mox would be 9. Lion's Eye Diamond would be 10. Beseech the Mirror would be 11. Tendrils of Agony would be 12. So that's exactly lethal. I will hold control and play Burning Wish. Let's make 3 black. Say yes. Go grab Beseech the Mirror. Sacrifice the Chrome Mox. And we will grab Gaea's Will. Even if this ends up not being lethal, which I'm pretty sure it is, but even if it doesn't, you could still put Song of Creation into play and then try to win with Veil of Summer. I mean, it's risky, but it's something you're allowed to do with a Veil of Summer in the graveyard. And now we will Beseech the Mirror, bargain away the Chrome Mox, and Tendrils of Agony is exactly lethal. So Gamble looked incredible this league. I think Urza Saga looked very good. It didn't really show up until matches 4 and 5, but it showed up. It single-handedly beat Doomsday. It single-handedly beat the Deafening Silence here. Our opponent said nice GGs. That was very kind of them. GGs to our opponent, and we got the trophy! All right, look at us. All right, so Gamble with Urza Saga is the secret sauce. I should apparently quit testing the no Urza Saga lists. Yeah, I mean, obviously it felt very good this league. Feed the Swarm could have come up. Like, I could have played that Feed the Swarm or Burning Wish for Feed the Swarm on turn 2 of the final game, but I decided to be a little bit more patient, and we drew into Urza Saga that found the sideboard copy of Haywire Might that did win the game. So you don't always have to just immediately go grab that sideboard target just because you can. A little bit of patience goes a long way. Abrupt Decay never really got the shine. Abrade, I don't think we cast, but I do like the split here. I did not miss Peer into the Abyss. It didn't feel like we really needed it now that we have Gamble. This is the consistency card that I've wanted for so long, and I regret not trying it out sooner. So, yeah. Also, the Meltdown never mattered. So, some of the things that I've just been, like, bashing my head against a wall trying to figure out, just ultimately, when you play a larger sample, you might see those cards every once in like 30 matches or whatever, but in a small sample like this contained league, we didn't. But I'm happy to trophy. I love Gamble, and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I think this list is the real deal. We might have found what I play at Eternal Weekend. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and keep storming. Hey, Bryant Cook. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. There's no better way to support our channel. If you're interested in elevating your combo game, visit theepicstorm.com/tutoring for details about our coaching sessions. Don't worry, there's more great combo content coming right up.